Hi, my name is Darren Stoddard, and I'd like to talk to you about my experience in the Foundations in Creativity class offered through Drexel University. I'll start with my definition of creativity. Inherent motivation is something that's permanent, fixed, and essential inside each of us. When I talk about combining available resources, I mean all resources, including physical objects and things that can't be seen or touched, perhaps like ideas and memories. And finally, by personally novel, I mean that something that's original to the creator, even if it's existed at some other point in time or in some other place in the world. So now let me quickly introduce you to 6 creative theorists, people who have worked hard to understand it, measure it, and enhance it for the betterment of the world. Along the way, I'll highlight the key theories that influence my definition of creativity and the Abstract Card Project. First up is Ellis Paul Torrance, who developed a psychometric approach in which he measured human creativity. He developed the Torrance test, which ultimately evolved to the 5 key criteria that you can see on the screen. I used each of these 5 metrics in the Abstract Card Project, and as you will soon see, resistance to premature closure was critical as I substantially changed my final project midstream. Next is Robert Sternberg, known for his triarchic theory of intelligence. For Sternberg, there were 3 distinct types of intelligence: analytical, creative, and practical. His theory is tied to my definition of creativity largely with creativity and practicality. The latter is evident in the ability to combine available resources, in a street-smart kind of way. These 2 intelligences are also most evident in my final project. Teresa Amabile has a very diverse body of work that appears often in Harvard Business Review. I'm most interested in her theories of intrinsic motivation, things that come from the head or the heart, versus extrinsic motivations that might include money, a plate of pasta, or a beautiful muse. I experimented heavily with motivations over the course of the Abstract Card Project, as the first stage of work involved soliciting submissions from all corners. In my definition of creativity, I addressed the intrinsic component by adding inherent motivation. Joy Paul Guilford developed the structure of intellect theory, which can be visualized as a 3-dimensional model with the 3 axes made up of product, operations, and content. The larger cube can be divided into 180 smaller cubes based on how each of the dimensions is subdivided. If you believe that smaller cubes transition with some fluidity rather than a hard line, the scope of Guilford's model is amazing. I addressed the application of his model in the paper that corresponds with this video. Howard Gardner advanced the theory of multiple intelligences. It makes sense empirically, but I share the opinion of many of his critics that there's little or no fact-based evidence to support it. Whatever you choose to call them, I do believe that they are real, and I hope that I demonstrate 2 or more of Gardner's intelligences with the Abstract Card Project. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi presented his notion of creativity as follows. A creative individual exists inside an interconnected system that includes the individual, a domain of people working in the same area, all of whom are subject to the judgment of the field of experts. While I really like some of his other concepts regarding flow and happiness, I believe that this idea of creativity is off the mark. When trees fall in the woods, they always make a sound, whether the person is there to hear it or not. Similarly, when an individual has creative output, it doesn't require a domain or a field to be creative. So let's talk about the Abstract Card Project. Back in September, I posted to Facebook to all of my friends and asked them to post it to anyone they knew some heavily detailed information about what the project would become. I followed up with several prompts and prods later with shorter posts to say, hey, help me out with this project. I moved on to launch a website, creativity.thestoddarts.com, where I recognized the artists that had contributed already with the work that they had presented. The artists really liked this. All of the contributors seemed to like this extrinsic motivation, the recognition I was giving them in public. But my project was still far short of my goal. Most of my cards were unfortunately still blank. I had to figure out something different to do, so I used something I'd learned in the CRTV502 class from Drexel called the cherry split technique from Michael Machalko. You basically take a couple of words, split them apart repeatedly, then randomly choose some words at the end. This is what I came up with. Now let's see the project. Based on that exercise, the Abstract Card Project was fully redirected. It was going to become a Brownie model camera, the machine, with a crank on its side that created no waste by using all of the submissions. The images would be processed with a filter to make them appear old. They'd been projected into the lens in a reverse fashion where you would view a video centered on a small digital screen. To complete the exercise, I added that video with the crazy-eyed guy at the beginning that you'll see again at the end. He's the snooty one. All of the cards that were contributed ultimately appear on the screen, and then slowly go away in a very randomized fashion. So what started as a project to use art submitted from non-professional artists to make a deck of playing cards turned into a projector that looks like a camera. The paper that accompanies this video addresses the connection between many of the concepts from the theorists and the cards that you see and the way the whole project went together. I hope you get a chance to read it.